the gorge is as a very ecologically sensitive and fragile place, both in terms of the flora and the fauna, the plants and the wildlife. In addition to having a lot of human communities, it's just really important for us to kind of continue to examine regional and localized climate trends and figure out how the gorge can adapt to those. In the case of indigenous tribes, they even depend on it for sustenance and for their own economies sometimes. It's just a very unique ecological place. It is bordered by a major, one of the largest metropolitan areas in the Pacific Northwest. And because of that, it's just a very attractive place for development. So there are two concepts here to climate work in the gorge. One is mitigation, so figuring out how to strengthen the Columbia Gorge, make sure that its plants and wildlife and human communities can continue to thrive despite a climate that we're not going to, the trend of climate change that we're not going to necessarily be able to change. And then the second arm of that is adaptation. So figuring out exactly, given the inevitability of climate change and it, affecting the flora and fauna and human communities of the gorge, what can we do about that in order to kind of make our communities, make our wildlife, make our forests more resilient, given the inevitability of future, weather pattern, future warming, future wildfires. Climate resilience is a concept that acknowledges the realities of climate change, and on a very localized level, it acknowledges the lack of power that a particular region has to affect change in climate change on a global level. Climate resilience is all about scale. So you're talking about very regional, very localized areas that we can strengthen to allay or to defray future impacts from the inevitable climate change. That's the difference in those two concepts is something that we've been working really hard to educate our supporters about, because when somebody, particularly a donor, somebody that's engaging with our stories just over email or social, whatever it might be, there's a sense of powerlessness when you talk about just climate change. You're saying, this is affecting the world over in China and India and Russia and Europe. And so when the problem is that large of a scale, it creates this sense of what can I can't do anything on this individual level. I can't possibly do anything to change that. But when you change the concept to climate resilience on a very specific area, then all of a sudden people get more invested in the problem. They understand that, hey, if I go out and volunteer, if I help clear invasive weeds, if I donate, if I engage with your organization and other conservation organizations in the area and support these, vote for legislators who are supporting these sorts of initiatives, then I can actually make a change at a very small, very local, but that sort of thing adds up over time.